Honk.
Yes, indeed. What's going on, everyone? Welcome, Arvanauts. Welcome, folks, to another session, a Sunday session. It just struck me, Sunday sessions of Soundclash. How nicely that goes together. Anyway, it is my pleasure to welcome everyone here for day 5, actually, of Soundclash, the Clampdown, the channel show that we have been doing on this channel now for a few months, featuring Brandon O'Brien as GM, and I'm very excited to have the next of these sessions as we continue on with this really cool campaign, which continues to be more and more crazy with every sort of ending session, where it's like, and then this happens, and you're like, okay, and then this happens, you're like, of course it did, right? So it seems like a very appropriate campaign in a way for 2020, although hopefully with a push towards much greater justice than other aspects of 2020 came out before. But in any case, I hope everyone's doing well and is looking forward to what's going to be, I hope, a really exciting session tonight. Before I go any further, just a couple of reminders about ways to support us here on the channel. If you have not done so already, please make sure to follow the channel. Please check out our YouTube with !ArvTube, our Discord with !ArvCord, our Twitter with !ArvTweets. Website for all of this is arvaneleron.com. You can find us, support us financially with !ArvShop. The Patreon is !ArvTreon. You can see it's at 22 patrons, 240 per month. And of course, we have got the sub button right above that video window, which will allow you to sub to the channel. You can get inspirations to support the players, and you can also get those custom sub badges and emotes to use here, there, and everywhere across Twitch, which is always a good thing. And last but certainly not least, the publishing stuff. !Icarus for details about my Icarus graphic novel, which is releasing in retail in 2 days. 2 days for the retail release of this from Athos Arts. I'm very excited about that. And then we have !Library for Tales and Tomes from the Forbidden Library, which is coming to you from Alligator Alley Entertainment. I'm very excited about that also. And that actually looks, the print of that is coming. It's already being printed and being shipped out. So I cannot wait to have that in my hands, and I'm sure that you folks are excited to see it as well, especially if you supported it. So check that out. And then !Grayshade KS is our Grayshade Kickstarter, which is coming February 2nd, 2021. Very excited about that also. More details to come. And !BLM Black Lives Matter, as we always talk about, this is enormously important. It's something that we need to continue to push and assert and affirm. So it's important that everyone click on that if you can. Check out that link and do what you can to support those through education, through resources, and things of that nature. The last thing I want to mention, though, is going to be something related to, and this is going to be important, something related to this very campaign. And so I'm going to unmute myself, again apologizing to anyone that I may have interrupted because I couldn't hear them yet, and then I'm going to unmute them, and then last but certainly not least, I'm going to head over to, to reveal the full crew in all of its assembled glory. And of course, the crew is led by also equally glorious Brandon O'Brien. And I just wanted to say before I handed it off to Brandon, I did want to mention that 2 weeks from today, we will be conducting a fundraiser for this very campaign. So if you've been thinking to yourself, you know, I love Soundclash the Clampdown, and I wish that there was more that could be done to support it, I have some good news for you, because there is something you can do. In 2 weeks, we will be having an incredible marathon gaming session featuring, as Brandon always likes to say, a bunch of things that he has collected and gathered together, games of various kinds, all kinds of things, which are going to be all with the intention of raising money for this amazing crew for 2 principal reasons. One, Brandon and I would like to be able to do an intro video that is actually worthy of this crew, that's specific to the Soundclash crew. So we want to have a video with music commissioned and the whole 9 yards like I do for some of my other campaigns. But I do want to pay, because it's important to do that, the creators for that, and I need a little bit of funding to make that happen. The second reason is we would love to make this as well an audio podcast like I do for my Curse of Strahd campaign, and I'd love to be able to put this in audio form. Seems to fit. Soundclash sound podcast seems to fit. So, but to do that, I need to have some funding for that as well. So we're going to be doing this on Sunday in 2 weeks. It will feature quite a bit of Brandon, quite a bit of me. It will feature quite a bit, in fact, maybe even of these players, he said with a ... ellipsis, waiting for Brandon to decide all that. But in any case, all of that is going to be happening. So please mark your calendars for that. It's going to be a good time. Now, having talked way too much, I'm going to hand things over to the amazing Brandon O'Brien. Wish the players a great session, and I'm going to watch and lurk and grade while I'm watching all that happen. So, Brandon, take it away.
Oh no, we're getting marked. Okay.
Not you. Everyone gets an A all the time here.
the academic life. I am yet praying for you, Arv. Um, hi, everybody. Before we begin, I just wanted to share a very brief message because this past week has been a lot for us all, and I'm particularly grateful for the way that it has ended in general. Although I do believe that there is a great deal of work yet to come, I do think that it is fair to say, in some sense, that we are owed a moment of respite, a moment to rest and regather ourselves collectively. I say this as a non-American, obviously, but as somebody who has been giving you all a great deal of my energy and a great deal of my prayer and a great deal of my fire and frustration as well. Um, it is with that in mind that I do definitely want to reiterate exclamation point BLM. Um, I, in the aftermath of this kind of progress, this kind of work, it is uh, always, always to me very important to acknowledge the work that the individuals on the ground are doing in order to ensure that this kind of progress can remain progress. Um, that includes, if not definitely is the majority work of activists of color, LGBT activists all over the US, and in a lot of cases all around the world, ensuring that people are consistently aware of what these issues are and what they can do to be engaged in those issues. There are activists, for instance, right now attempting to gain not only funding but grassroots support for the Georgia runoff elections that are supposed to take place in a few months. Those things are very important. And while, yes, you are allowed to pop bottles right now and be comforted in this acknowledgement, it is also very, 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 very important to continue supporting the communities that are doing the work, not only so the work continues to be easy, but because the work never ends, and ensuring that the communities that are doing the work uh, are continually putting themselves out there to ensure that the work gets done, not only get the support, but that with our collective support, that work can get easier and we can, at some point in the future, if we're really, really lucky, continually breathe easy. And I think that's really important to remember. So exclamation point BLM in the chat will bring up a series of resources that are all still available. I'm sure there are a great deal of other very important resource pools that can also be discovered elsewhere on the internet. I'm going to do my part to share a lot of those things and try to do my part not only from where I am in Trinidad and Tobago for you all, but for my part of the world as well. And I would encourage you all to do the same. With that in mind, that long rambling conversation of mine, I'm sorry. I'm Brandon O'Brien. I will be your stage manager for this evening's session of Soundclash the Clampdown. I'm very, very happy to be with all of my favorite players once again for another session of this game. And I would like to have them all please introduce themselves, starting with Valeria.
Hi guys, my name is Valeria. I use they, them, and she, her pronouns, and I play Eva Peron in this game, who uses she, her pronouns, and is the beat.
Nice. Next, Nathan.
Hi, 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 hello. I am Certified Freak 7 days a week. I appear on this live stream to make your pull-out game week. Nathan Blades, nice to see you. On this stream, I will be playing Oliver Hoshizora, anime sad boy and theremin player.
Thank you, Nathan. Next, Katie.
Hey everybody, it's Katie Chin, she, her pronouns, hailing to you from Canada, where the whole 9 yards is the whole 8.23 meters. I will be playing River Song, aka The Rhythm. Um, in some ways, a sad girl because she does not have her parents' approval. Ho ho.
And last but not least, Amor.
Hi, I'm Amr Emaraz. I use they, she pronouns, and I am going to pull the rug out from under your feet by not giving you a witty intro and just going to my character, who is Nahmat El Qalb, and the melody, here to tell you that maybe, nothing bad will happen if I try to lie to everyone. Sure, it'll be fine.
Sure. I have faith in your abilities.
Yeah.
So, with that, we re-enter the drama of last session. For a recap, um, after some mild personal engagements, including River Song getting a phone call from her mother, um, that may or may not have been a pleasant experience overall. Um, the crew
Loved it.
decided the crew decided to revisit Derek's apartment um, after a brief pause to check on Ava, who was like very eagerly playing music at that point in time. The entire gang decided that they were going to check on Derek and discover what may have possibly been the big deal that the authorities decided to take his brother into questioning for. And in that process, they not only discovered that the crystals that they were all carrying have the ability to bust through concrete, but that those crystals have been very eagerly observing a vinyl record that is in Derek's apartment. And when we last left off, not only did Ava notice what that record was and the fact that the crystals are very keen about this record for some reason, but Ava can hear the crystals singing. In fact, Ava can hear the frequency that is the source of magic in this universe. And the very last thing that happened last session was Ava asking the rest of the crew if they can hear that.
Well, okay. So there is still a gigantic spinning cluster of crystals in the room.
Mm-hmm.
We have an ominous glowing halo behind Ava. Can you remind me where the record is?
The record is in Ava's hands.
Yeah. Excellent. I recall in the previous session I was fiddling with the record player owned by Derek's brother. So we'll get to a circumstances where the circumstances are explained, because I guess things are wild right now. So I'll hold fire until we.
Is that how that? I recall that Derek was in a back room to look for the record player.
Right.
Yeah, he hasn't emerged yet. So that's going to be a conversation when he discovers that there's a hole in his roof.
Oh, sure. Perfectly fine. Okay. In that case, I suppose Oliver is going to get there. Yeah, we were trying to get Derek's attention, considering the circumstances. He definitely heard the crystals go through the roof.
Yes.
So I'm happy to let the scene play out while Oliver is off camera trying to get Derek's attention.
Mm-hmm.
If you're talking about the sound that the crystals made when they pierced the ceiling, yes, I heard that. Do you mean is that what you meant?
No, River, there. It's the frequency. It's everything, and I think Ava's starting to cry. Like, this is very emotional for her, and she's like, "You can't hear them singing," which might make her look insane.
River, are you looking directly at Ava at this time?
Yes.
I need you to make a roll of some kind for me.
Of some kind?
I want you to tell me what that roll will be.
Tell you what the roll will be while looking at
Ava. There is a kind of information that you may be able to gain. But I want the roll to be up to you.
Okay. Well, let's make things interesting. I don't have any points in observe, so I want it to be observe. And I'm gonna roll a d20 for that.
When rolling for an action that you do not have any points in,
Mm-hmm.
you roll 2d20 and keep the lowest or the one that strains, whichever one happens first.
Mm-hmm. The spiciest.
Your
Oh, what do you know?
oh yike. 16. Both of those are both of those successes? Yeah, both of those are successes.
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
both of those are great performances.
I think they're both, like stunning performances. Somebody pull out the rules.
Fucking legit.
If you really did, nope, 13 is a success.
Damn.
Ooh, that would have been fun.
That would have been fun. It just
been,
needed to be. It just needed to be 14, and this would have been interesting.
Yeah. I'm into it,
Okay,
though.
and I
Let's
didn't
go.
even give you position and effect yet, which was yeah. What was supposed to be your position and effect? It would have been.
Just got really excited. First roll.
It would have been. Your position would have been risky, and your effect would have been standard. But I mean, a success is a success. You almost don't notice it because like the amount of things that are happening around the Ava's head is a lot. There's a moment like the light of this where the halo is like hitting you right in the eye, but if you focus, like you focus just a little bit as Ava is crying, and you notice that Ava's tears are not falling down, but sideways into the clouds behind, and then becoming crystals and disappearing into the like mist of clouds behind Ava's head.
Like crystals, as in they're turning into ice and then disappearing, or they're turning like black, like the crystals.
They're turning into the black crystals that are presently powder blue crystals in the room, and then disappearing in the clouds behind.
Am I opening a rift behind my head? I'm suddenly thinking that I'm opening a rift behind my head, and I'm actually really worried about this.
Okay, is Nachmat also looking just right now? Okay, River like elbows. Nachmat is just like, we need to do something about this. Ava, do you see what your tears are doing? I don't have my fiddle on me right now.
She would probably put her hand up to her face.
Yeah.
Can Nachmat hear the singing?
Mm. Can I hear?
No one else can hear the singing but you.
Oh, good.
They're just
here. Saying, and I'm crying crystals. That's really great.
Yeah. Can we move again? Because I remember towards the end of the last session we weren't able to move for a lot of it.
Oh yeah. Everyone regained motion just a while back.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Do you mind if I touch one of the crystals, Eva?
They're spinning very fast. I don't want you to hurt yourself. Unless you're talking about my tears?
Yes, I'm talking about those.
Oh,
sure.
those are gone. Those have like floated away.
They're not still flowing, because I feel
Oh.
like Ava's still crying. Like she's really freaked out right now.
Okay, you might be able. In fact, yes, you might be able to catch a crystal before it disappears. That I believe would require a roll for you to essentially catch one before it disappears into the sky mirage behind Ava's head. What do you think that roll might be? I think the one that makes most sense is finesse.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any points in finesse?
I do not.
Is there a thing that you Yeah, no, it has it is ideally finesse.
Okay.
Haha. Yes.
In fact, it is theoretically possible that with one of your gadgets you might be able to force a tinker that will pull a crystal towards you, but it might also I will say that you definitely know that it would interfere with the interaction of the other crystals that are already in the room in a way
Yeah,
that might be visibly hostile to you.
I don't think using a gadget is also on my mind at this moment.
Fair enough.
Um,
So yes.
okay. That's a 9 and a 10, both regular successes.
Indeed. Right. So
Smashed.
like just before one of the tears on Ava's right side kind of like floats and kind of hovers behind Ava's head just towards the halo. You notice it as it stops being water and starts changing shape, and you catch it just before it like finally physically becomes a crystal, and it like forms like a it's when you have it in your hand, it seems imperfect compared to the shape of the crystals that you've already seen, and then you actually see it kind of straighten up and sharpen up in your hand. And
Needle-like, huh?
now you have another crystal. It is a bit smaller than the other ones, but it is the same pyramid shape as the ones that you already have.
I would really like to work with that. In the meanwhile, there is a kind of like on the door to where Derek is. That's Oliver's voice again. It's a higher register than mine. Derek, did you manage to find the record player?
You hear like shuffling, you hear like the sound of what is very definitely a man very solidly hitting the ground after tripping on something, and then the door opens and Derek goes, "What's all the noise up?" What just happened?
Things are really complicated right now, and I'd really like to explain what's going on, but I need that
Derek
record
shuts
player.
the door in front.
No. I think there's probably a moment where Oliver kind of catches the door handle on the other side, and there's a small tug of war to maintain Derek's attention, which I'm more than happy to roll for.
Oh yeah, definitely. So what are you saying as this door is still wrestling to be ajar in front of you?
Look, this is a really complicated circumstance, but it's not going to be fixed unless you can help, and I really, really need your help.
Okay, and what are you going to roll?
I would like to roll finesse to catch the door in it trying to be closed.
Okay, which you have 2 points in, and I will say
Mm-hmm.
that your position is risky, and your effect is standard.
Cool. What is the word on pushing myself? If this in one of the things in parity to regular Blades in the Dark is that you can take a point of stress to improve your roll. Which if it's the thing that I'm allowed to do, I would love to do. But
you can push yourself to gain +2.
Hell yes, we're rolling with a +6 in total if we do that.
So what die will you be rolling? D12
I would be
or
rolling a
D20?
D12, please.
Okay,
and
just
taking a
wants to
point of
make sure.
stress.
Yes.
Well, I'm not necessarily great at math, but I can do that much. 1d12 plus 6. Let's go. 13.
13
Which is a regular success.
Right. So you catch the door. You catch the door sturdily enough that the amount of space that is still open in the door allows Derek to still get a very clear view of the hole in the roof and the
Perfectly fine.
crystals.
As I say, complicated. Hiding is probably fine, but please tell me you found that record player.
Or is this? What are you guys up to?
Trying to stop.
Less questions, more record player.
Please? I'm more than happy to talk this through after we stop. What's going on?
You can visibly see that Derek has like fear in his eyes, like he is like
There is fear in Oliver's eyes too. The feeling is more than mutual.
And like he glances down at like a couple of boxes that are like to the right of the door and like lifts a cardboard box from the bottom, like slides the door fully open with his foot and places a cardboard box that has one. It's a record player in the way that you would typically imagine a record player that is kind of a few years in the future would look like. So yeah, and he places that in your hands and steps back.
If you want to hide now, that's perfectly fine. But thank you. Thank you. And Oliver turns away from Derek, and the expression of kind of like apologetic and empathetic goes colder upon turning away to like, okay, we have the step of the plan. In terms of the layout of this apartment, can I see at least like Nakmat and River? Even if I can't necessarily see Ava and the crystal tears.
Everything
or can I see
should.
all of them? Cool.
Yeah, everything is like still within eyesight. Yeah.
In that case, Oliver's like, I have no idea if this is going to work, but this makes sense to me right now, so please go with it. And he sets the record player down. And, and most record players, whether old or new, because in every generation there are audiophiles who like to tinker with their music player machines so they can switch out parts to make it specifically to their liking. And one of the things that you can replace on the record player is the needle for a wide variety of different types of compositions and weights. We have a record currently being held by Eva. And thanks to Nakmat's dexterous fingers, we have a needle.
Technically, that is indeed a thing that you have.
It is.
Hey, these things respond to music, and they were responding to this record. And the only thing I can think of in terms of getting this under control is to play the record. So.
But Ava has it. Like, can you even get out of your weird electron cloud of tears and crystals?
I don't. This thing is pointing at the record this entire time. I'm not sure. Can I move? And she's gonna start like sort of like sidestepping.
All of the crystals are tilting to point towards you, but they're not like getting closer to you. They're just like hovering in the air where they are and just
like a compass needle.
Yeah. And so she's like sidestepping and slowly starting to step backwards towards the record player and just sort of like looking at Nathan, looking at Oliver, and she's just like, okay, it hasn't attacked yet. So I guess here.
When the chips are down, all that we can really rely on is my own, all that I can really rely on is my own musical technical knowledge to pull me through. Okay.
I walked you the record. You had to rely on my feet now, Oliver.
No. This is on personal chips are down, not necessarily throwing shade at you. Bad wording on my part, out of character. But
so I just want to add that a thing that happens very, very suddenly is that when Ava gives Oliver the sleeve with the record in it, the crystals very suddenly flash red and like rush forward like a foot and a half,
Mm-hmm.
and then they continue spinning normally. They regain their powder blue color. At
Mhm.
that, like in that same amount of time,
Of
um,
passing the record between people.
Ava's halo flashes off and then back on again. But they're still observing the record.
Mm-hmm. Well,
I
that's
don't like this.
neither do I, but we'll see if we can pull this together.
Brandon, did the frequency change at that moment? When that
Um,
happened?
It when you like to your ears, it sounded as if it had been interrupted by static, as if someone was trying to change the channel on a radio, and
Mhm.
then it returned.
Okay.
Just for prep, River would like to pick up some sort of thick book.
I mean, the nearest bookcase that you can see is behind the crystals.
Hmm. She will. Can she edge around it safely, or is it?
Oh yeah, there's
finesse?
there's enough there's
Okay.
enough room for you to like pass around it, but like, do you want to interfere with the crystals at this point?
She will do the like inchy squinchy
Wiggle.
along a wall type of thing
Mm-hmm.
because she wants a book to defend herself.
You find like there are like enough like old encyclopedias, like a history of music, like enough books that are like 600 pages
Yep.
hardcover that you could like.
Yep. She takes the C sec. I almost. Fine, I was gotta say it. The C section of the Encyclopedia Staccatoca, and that's what she
Nice.
has.
I guess that's a thing now. Taking note of the Encyclopedia Stochatica. So yes, you have a book. Why
Yep.
do you have a book?
To whack crystals with. If they start looking like they're about to explode.
Duly
Mhm.
noted.
That's what flashing red things do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Nakmat, you're familiar with record player tech, right?
Of course. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to need your help to put this together as quickly as possible.
Let's do it. And can I like does the crystal that I have that I took from Ava's tears, does that just like inert in my hand right now?
Yes.
Cool.
It is a pure black crystal, just like these crystals in their earlier state.
Cool.
Just smaller.
Cool. Then I will hold on to it and rush over towards Oliver, and let's try to get this record player working.
Mm-hmm.
Can I describe what I think the record player looks like if we wanted to be futuristic?
Ooh.
Or
Feel free.
Okay, I want it to look kind of like one of those cool rock paperweight things where it's kind of a gem, but there's a slot in the middle of it where you place the record like vertically,
oh, I've seen those kind of vertical record players.
and then it plays it like spinning like that. And then also like when you put it in, the gems glow so that you know that you inserted it correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Neat.
Let's, if we're in a position to make if this is something that would require a roll to operate.
Yeah, it's only fair in this moment that should still be a roll.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Mhm. Who here has Tinker?
That would be me.
1 rank.
Yeah, same.
Okay. Yeah, so Tinker would definitely work in this instance.
Mhm.
Especially because you were planning to replace the needle that it already had with this crystal.
Mhm.
Right. So your position is desperate.
Sure. Maths
And
wise,
your
this makes
effect.
sense for Nachmat to take point on, so I can assist and make that better. But yeah, go
Okay.
ahead.
Then I can do that.
And your effect would be great.
Okay. Let's do it. I'm gonna take stress and push myself to give us an extra +2.
Mhm.
And then roll 1d12 + 4.
Okay.
Okay, that is a 7 to start off. So
Well,
A 7 is not ideal. A
however,
7.
I would like to use my hum to push myself also to increase another bandmate's roll by 1 level. Especially since I'm innately talented at hacking, this particular technological shenanigans was preordained. So we are working together to make this happen correctly.
perfect.
Okay, so that means a minor success becomes a success.
Yep.
Mhm.
So like there's this moment where like briefly neither of you knows how this record player like works. And then the song starts to play and the crystals again flash red, rush forward like about like 4 inches and then continue spinning. At this point, like how close are you both to the record player at this point?
Oh, well, we both probably have our hands on it at the moment.
Yeah, probably right at it.
Yeah, because
Tinkering
that means like the crystals are like behind or beside one of your heads. Just like whirring very rapidly. Yeah, I'm just gonna say like it's like right between you, like the frame is looking up from the record player. It's just both of you leaning beside as these crystals just like whir right
whirring
now.
in my ear. Yeah.
Yeah. And you begin to hear the song Have Hope by Werewolf. This does not sound like anything you have heard on the radio ever. It sounds like, among other things, like 4 good friends just so happened to have enough money to pay for a top shelf recording, and they just got there with the instruments that they had out of their bedrooms and just started playing. It sounds as grunge as possible, but in the best possible audio quality that it could have ever possibly been in. And it is of a genre that you have never encountered on the radio before. It is all electric guitars, kind of like so intense that it sounds like their strings are literally slashing at the wind around them. Drums echoing in the recording so intensely that it sounds like they're literally bouncing off of the walls and then back into the drums instead of someone actually playing them. And the lyrics are split between one feminine voice kind of like operatically singing about this kind lyrics about like the necessity of whenever you have achieved this small success of tearing down a wall or removing one despot, there is still the work to do to actually come together as a community to do the rest of the work. And that's like immediately followed every verse by another voice like rapping very intensely about the movement as a fight, struggling against the communities that want to keep us separate, because keeping us separate is the way that the work never gets done.
I think, is there a visual effect, a moment of sakuga as the black crystal needle kind of hits the record, a visual spark or something similar?
The crystal, very interestingly, that you are using as a needle here, it like so briefly that like it would have been almost incredibly difficult for anybody to notice it from the naked eye. It turns like prismatic, and then returns to its black obsidian, but it starts losing its physical form. Like that's the thing that you see very distinctly. Like it stops being solid and starts being liquid to the point where you can notice that there are moments when it technically isn't touching the record and it's still playing. Like it's just responding to the record being in its space now, and that's allowing it to play.
Okay. I think off the back of Nakmat taking point on the tech role, I think now would probably be a good time to increase our understanding collectively of the magic at play here, and using one of my new skills that I gained having
You got a
leveled
new
up from
ability.
last session. Yeah, my special attribute of it's taken from not from the harmony playbook, but instead from the rhythm playbook. Studious, gaining +2 to gather information on magical anomalies. And I think, well, there is definitely capital M magic happening under current circumstances, whether that is the metaphorical of how we might feel about the music that we are currently hearing, or the literal of several crystals rotating ominously in a room while there is a cloud halo behind one of our friends. But there is I think, something to understand and something to harness more than anything else from this circumstance. And Oliver, whether he realizes it or not, this is the spark of understanding or gaining an affinity with this particular frequency, this particular melody, understood to very few aside from Ava. So okay. I suppose that would be in the tune roll.
It can very well be in a tune roll if you'd like it to be. How many dots do you have in a tune?
I have 2 dots in a tune.
Okay, so that would be +4 from a tune and +2 from Studious.
Making it a +6 without even needing to strain myself. Goodness.
And your position... Your position is limited.
Fine.
But your effect is standard.
Now, well, we'll see how. There's a thing I would specifically like to do, but we'll see how well I roll, and then you can tell me whether it is BS or not. I would like to take that on because maths with a D12.
Okay.
Actually, no, let's push this to if I push this to a D20, I still kind of have horrible things happen to me if I strain, and that's good. I'm into what I intend to do, having horrible personal negative effects.
All right.
Okay.
I'm about it.
You don't play a Forged in the Dark game unless you want to push the boundaries and get hurt.
Okay, I have faith in you, my friend.
Hell yeah, let's go. So rolling 1d20 +6, position control. Heck yeah, let's go. 21. So
21.
What I would like to do, and then you can tell me what actually happens, but just to kind of get Oliver's intent out into the world, is this is magic. We have encountered magic, and magic can do all sorts of things that go beyond the realms of human ability. And I would like to, even if I don't understand it, try and cast a spell that might rewind the state of the room. However, whether that's something that actually occurs or not is entirely up to you. But that's just what I would like to happen.
I'm very curious about your intent. What do you mean by rewind?
So what has happened is that, we've got big holes drilled through the ceiling of the room with crystals, and I would like to essentially use musical magic to repair that damage, whether that is a more literal form of repair or whether that is
Mm-hmm.
Nathan seems to have dropped out on us. That's unfortunate.
No.
I want to wait for them to return before I state what I think happens in this moment. This is unfortunate. I have faith that Nathan will return. I will say that I like the idea of the holes in this apartment remaining where they are, so that's not going to change.
Ooh.
But I do have an idea of what does happen. Oh no. So we will get Nathan back at some point. That will
Yep.
we will rectify that problem shortly. Apologies. But I think what does happen in this moment is there is an attempt to rectify the situation that is occurring in this moment that leads to the crystals essentially kind of responding to some of the lyrics of the song itself and pointing away from the record and towards the hole in the ceiling. And it tries to restitch some element of reality in that space. And instead of returning concrete or plaster to those spaces, it puts solid gold there. So there is a warm, kind of soft patch of gold that is just in the ceiling above Derek's apartment. And then it returns to focusing on the record, which very briefly starts playing faster than it's supposed to, and then stops. And the record player just decides, well, you know what? This is not supposed to happen. Let's just stop playing music right now. And the crystal returns to its solid black form.
Oh, okay. I think it's over. Is Ava still crying tears of crystal?
I mean, it depends on whether Ava is still crying.
I don't think Ava's crying anymore, but
Okay.
can I still hear the frequency? Or has that stopped now?
Just around the time that the crystals started patching up the hole in the ceiling, the frequency has now stopped.
Yeah, I think she's trying to gain emotional equilibrium. And she's just sort of like, Nachmat, is this a rift behind my head?
Yeah.
Nechmet takes a look. Is that a rift?
It is not it's weird. In fact, you need to give me a roll for this one, but I would be
Ooh.
very delighted to share this information with you as you observe it. But
Okay.
yes, you will need to take a closer look at it. How do you plan to take a closer look at it?
I think probably. uh, Can you give me a bit more of what it looks like for me to figure out how to approach it?
Right. So at the moment, it is like this. There is like a round series of space around Ava's head is like occupied by a cloudy sky, like a mirage of a cloudy sky that is
Okay.
surrounded by a ring of light that doesn't like
Okay.
it doesn't seem like solid so much as it seems like it's simply in like all of this image seems at this moment
Yeah.
like it is attached to Ava in a kind of green screen sense that you
Okay.
can see it from every angle that Ava's head is turned.
Yeah.
So yes.
Okay, so I think what happens is as soon as the stone stabilizes and Nakhmat's like, oh, we're safe, Nakhmat had immediately pulled out her notebook to start writing everything that had happened and all her observations. And then when Eva asks, is that a rift? They stop. They look up and they start flipping back to the notes they previously written and are trying to like cross compare them. Can I roll a study?
You can roll a study. How many dots do you have in study?
One
One.
dot.
So your position is controlled and your effect is standard.
Cool. I will roll a d20.
Okay.
Wow, that is a natural 20. That is a 22.
Right. So I will say that you do gain information,
Yeah.
which is it is a unique kind of relationship between physical and non-physical space, which is that there is technically nothing there. Like it doesn't have an edge. There is like the way that you perceive this phenomenon ending is that there is just a part of the image where you cannot see anything.
Mm.
But when you attempt to physically interact with it, you do have like there is this moment when you like put your hand through it and it consumes your whole hand. Like your hand and like part of your forearm disappears in it. It feels very breezy and very cold. Like parts of your hand and forearm are tingling at this moment. And as like seconds pass, it actually begins to hurt a lot, but you cannot pull your hand free by yourself.
I was gonna say, as soon as your hand disappears, River wants to try and pull you out.
Okay, you're gonna have to roll for that.
Yeah. I was just
think
like,
Ava's-
As that's happening.
I think Ava's like freaking out too. Just to
as
add
that
on to
happening,
this.
Nakhmat's like, so update, this is not a rift. Not in the normal sense. My arm might be stuck.
why would you touch it?
No worries. This is all useful information.
You were saying this very calmly for someone whose
Is it-
arm is
is
like
it-
invisible pain.
Is it worth a hand?
Nakhmat just pauses, not having an answer.
So what would you like to roll, River, to help
God,
your
I don't
friend?
I am like River is very small, has nothing.
River has no dots in any force abilities.
She has stuff in sneak and operate, but Nachmat is
Uh,
not a machine and is not, and we're not hiding. But so
yeah,
she is just gonna try and pull. So she's gonna roll like what?
to pull would
Scuffle?
be scuffle,
Yeah,
which would
two
be
d20s.
I
Let's
believe
go.
in your
Right.
ability. I believe.
So your position is desperate,
Uh huh.
and your effect is Your effect is great.
Ooh.
Ooh. Let's see what happens.
So right, you roll 2d20.
Oh, good, a 1. That's a
Oh
1.
gosh.
Yay.
Both a failure and the strain.
Right. So that's the thing.
Oh,
When you
yeah.
roll, when you roll for an action that you do not have any dots in, you take a strain if the strain comes first.
Okie dokie. Well, technically the strain came second. Do you mean that like strains take priority?
Yes, strains take priority over
Okay. Okay.
blows.
Then
So
it's a strain. Yay!
yeah.
I'm really excitable today, everyone. I don't know why.
Um and this observably manifests to me as you get behind Nakmat to pull, you trip on something. I'm going to say that it's the rug underneath the underneath where Nakmat is standing. You like slip backwards, and in like the weird way that you fall at that point, your left hand, gets stuck through the halo on the other end. So like very briefly, it looks like you're going to punch Ava in the back of the head, and then your hand and upper arm disappears on the other side of the image.
Ah,
Yeah, you feel a lot of very cool breeze, and then pins and needles.
okay.
So like
Yeah,
both
you
of you are
see
very visibly stuck.
information. I've got information too. But I don't no, it doesn't seem worth it.
Can I just try to like back wheel like backwards to try to like force these people out of my headspace?
Is
Is that
a
why
thing
it's cold and painful? Because it's Ava's headspace.
Oh god. Do you want to physically do a thing in this moment?
Yeah, definitely. I think she doesn't want to hurt her friends, and I think
Okay.
that also sort of like hits her. She's like, oh, I'm thinking of these children as my friends. My life is shambles.
Yep. Though to make sure I didn't get Nachmat's like arm out, I
Nope.
just got my own. Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
So
So what did I succeed in doing if I strained?
um so like the right, so I will say in terms of that success that you did get a bit of Nakmat's arm out. Like you can see Nakmat's wrist now, but you're like both still stuck. Like
So good news is that we can pull our arms back out.
yeah.
They're not lost forever. That's reassuring.
We don't know that yet. I need this arm.
Right, and I will just point out for clarification's sake that Nachmat, the portion of the forearm that you can see, is now iridescent and translucent, but is still very obviously still skin.
Oh,
Can we see like veins and like muscles if it's like translucent?
No, like
Or is it, like...
you can see straight through that portion of Nachmat's arm, but it
That's
still
somehow
but it
more
still
concerning.
functions like it
Okay.
still functions like
I guess what I'm trying to imagine, are we thinking like full glassy translucent, or like are you talking iridescent like Captain Marvel glowing? Like what type of
it's sort of like it's like cloudier than fully glass.
Okay.
And like there's a lot of glitter that seems to be like moving in a portion of your arm.
Okay, so like a glimmer from She-Ra type of deal.
Yeah, something like that. And
Okay.
you can see straight through it, straight through out the outer arm. But like you can still like touch it, and it feels like skin. Although if you try to touch it, you will be in a lot of pain.
Hey River, I don't mean to alarm you, but do you need your arm to be non-translucent?
Preferably.
Okay. Let's hope things go back to
I
normal.
want my arm out.
Okay.
Is
So
it Ava, you were
who
gonna do
who has arms that are stuck?
Nakmat's
Both?
stuck, River's stuck.
All right. So
And
Ava puts.
for the purposes of being able to qualify for Nathan, what is taking place here? Oliver is just watching the scene perplexedly.
So Ava puts her hands on both of your guys' like biceps, and she's just gonna like push you while she's pulling her head back.
Okay, that's definitely something akin to a scuffle, I imagine.
Sweet. I have a dot in scuffle.
You have a dot in scuffle.
I have a dot in scuffle.
And Nathan is back. I will tell
Sorry,
you.
I
will tell you
vanished
the
into the
thing.
ether for 10 minutes. I apologize.
Also have two
Yes.
arms.
Yeah. So real quick while Valeria rolls. The TLDR, our arms are stuck inside Ava's head. That's really it.
A lot has happened.
As in, we reached out to Ava and our arms just kind of vanished through into the ether.
Yeah, basically, yes.
Yes. So
Why did we reach out to Eva?
right. So the things that you've missed, in the attempt to perform the action that you are attempting to perform,
Heck yeah.
what instead happened was that the crystals attempted to patch the hole in Derek's apartment ceiling, and instead of patching it with reality, patched it with gold.
Cool.
In the process of doing so, the record has stopped. Nakmat decided to take a moment to determine whether the image behind Ava's head was a rift or not. Got her hand stuck. River tried to pull Nakmat's hand out. And now River's hand is stuck. And you are watching now as not only do they struggle to emerge from the rift, but you have all noticed that the portion of Nakmat's arm that did come out of the rift is now iridescent and translucent.
Yeah. I guess after a surprising period of time where Oliver's eyes were rolled into the back of their head, comes to because casting magic when you don't know what you're doing is probably visually ugly too. It's like what's going on? Are we okay? Oh, what happened to your hand?
And he was
Come
like,
back to at
"Hold
least a
on, this will
little
be
bit."
fine." And then she's gonna she's gonna try and shove both Nakma and like she's got like a grip, and she's gonna try and like push them away while like pulling her head back to try and force this image off.
So your position is desperate. And your effect is limited.
Good to know. All right. So let's just go for this. I didn't even do the roll command, guys. I'm very good. My job.
Nice.
Just rolling a die.
It's a high stress moment. It's okay.
Oh,
That's a 4. Wait. Did it actually roll? Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's a 4 because it didn't roll the +2.
That's a minor
Can I-
success.
Oh, sweet.
A
It's not a
4
complete
is
failure.
indeed very weirdly a minor success. What is a minor success in this instance?
Well, it's desperate, so it's already not that great.
You do it, but there's a consequence. You suffer severe harm. A serious complication occurs. Ran out of breath halfway through, or you have a reduced effect.
Indeed. Right. So I know what happened in this instance, which is unfortunate. So a lot of catastrophe is about to take place in this room all at once, which is you push with like there is a kind of force that comes from you in this moment as you push that you when you feel it feels like it's not coming from you. It feels like it's coming from some other kind of force that is behind you or beside you, and it pushes so hard that River and Ahmad go flying against the wall on the other side of the room. It also pushes you against the bookcase so hard that you and the bookcase go flying against the other wall in the other direction. The bookcase very weirdly seems to cushion your fall in a way that is physically impossible. So you just get like a very nasty bump on the head. But uh, River and Nakmat are very briefly unconscious. Like right now, you are both unconscious, unfortunately.
We're taking a nap. It's pleasant rest. Y'all
We
have fun
gotta-
with
we
your
gotta-
scene. We'll be
yeah.
asleep.
Gotta
Yeah.
process all that information we just got.
Yeah, sleep is good.
Yeah,
Also,
I'll-
both of your arms are now like totally iridescent and translucent.
Ooh.
Oh
Uh,
no.
Oliver looks from side to side because I guess they kind of exploded sideways from his point of view, and kind of looks side to side. Oh my god!
Mm-hmm.
And well, let's roll 1d2.
What are we rolling
Okay.
into?
He runs over to Ava
Okay.
and is like, "Are you okay?"
I don't know why we left that up to chance, but yes.
I mean, he can't be in both places at once, and there's an equal odds of doing either. So I decided to leave it up to fate. Why not?
I love it.
Mhm. I don't blame you.
I feel like Ava's looking like a little shaken, and she's sort of staring over where River and Nachmat have sort of probably slid down the wall, where she's like holding the back of her head, and she's just like, I don't understand what's happening, but we need to check on River and Nachmat. This power is dangerous. I need
of
it to
control.
stop.
Well, you said something about humming, right?
Yeah, it was the singing.
Is it
I
still
was
loud? I
looking-
can't hear it.
No, the singing stopped. So this should stop. I want this to stop, and I think she's trying to will whatever force has like she welcomed. She's trying to like she's picturing like a door, and she's trying to close it to stop
Okay.
this connection.
So that sounds very much to me like an attune.
I have 2 dots in it too.
Okay. Your position is desperate. And your effect is great.
Okay. Not the best, but it's there. A minor success. So pushing, because I haven't pushed this round. That would give me a +2.
I mean, yeah.
Or would it
Either
be
way.
before the roll?
I mean, ideally it is before you roll. So I'm
sorry.
not
I'll do that
good.
next time.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
No worries.
So, what I will say in this moment is, as you say that, you suddenly experience this like incredible migraine. It feels as if like a pain has like traveled all the way through your brain. And like for a moment, like as you're shutting your eyes in the experience of this pain, you very briefly, like in your head, you can still kind of hear the frequency, which I will just note, just for your own sake, I'll just let you know that the song that you were listening to is not the same song as the frequency, but you are the only person in this room that knows that they both sound like the same genre of music. And you're hearing it, and like for a moment it seems softer and further away, and then in your mind you can like literally hear a door close, and then when the pain is gone, the crystals all straighten and fall to the ground. Less like they're like naturally falling to the ground, and more like they all fall at normal speed, but they don't like uh make any noise when they hit the ground. They just hit the ground solidly. um and You can like briefly hear like a dead stillness in the room. Your halo begins to fade. um and yeah, right now the room is essentially perfectly still.
I think that's
Yeah.
when she's gonna sort of like pat Oliver on the shoulder. She's like, "We need to check on them. We need to check on them." And she's gonna head over to them.
Maybe you should stay put. Maybe away from the bookshelf in case that thing falls on you. But I'll go look. I'll go look at them to hope that they're okay. And Oliver moves across the room, and there's like a sofa in here. Tries to as gracefully, or at least with as much dignity as he can manage, try to lift them up one at a time and prop them up on the sofa rather than ragdolled on the floor.
Okay. Um do you want to roll for that, or do I just tell you how long it takes for you to do so?
It can take me a while. He's
Cool.
obviously not trying to. He's probably being careful as to not injure them more. So
I will say that there's a moment where Derek pokes his head out of the storage room and goes, what's happening? What's happening?
there is, I think, a moment where they make eye contact between Derek and Oliver, and there is just pointed anger in Oliver's expression for a while. In like, we were screaming, unsaid, but in their eyes, we were screaming for your help, and you hid. And then the expression goes, I think it's over, but we probably need a first aider or something. I don't know whether you want to call an ambulance, but do you know anybody who knows first aid?
I did like a couple of training things, but I think we still need to call an ambulance. But
good enough, at least to make sure that they don't swallow their tongue or something. I don't know.
I just need to make sure of one thing before this all goes sideways. And like he's like literally holding his phone in his hand. Is this one of those musical contraband things that everybody keeps talking about? Because I'm having the worst possible week already, and I don't want to make this phone call and then the authorities come and drag all of you all away as well. I don't want anything to do with what's happening here.
Derek, do not call the ambulance. 2, your brother did have contraband.
What?
He had a record. Something that vibes with whatever the hell contraband is. And now you have gold in your ceiling.
Oh, Your brother has discovered something amazing.
Amazing. Look at what the two of your friends are. It, I don't have words. He literally like turns deadpan and looks at you and goes, I don't have words.
Amazing isn't always necessarily a description of a good thing, just awe-inspiring, don't you think?
This isn't a good question to ask Derek right now, Oliver. Though Nachmat would probably agree with you.
This is... I couldn't explain it either. I don't know what happened
Okay.
at all, but we're still breathing. They are maybe okay. I hope they're okay. But
Right.
wow.
So
Wow.
so very immediately, Derek turns to you, looks down at River and Nachmat still like, I imagine you have one of them in your arms at this moment. And then he goes to the fridge, puts like a handful of blocks of ice in a Ziploc bag and tosses it at you. And then puts a few more in another one and comes rushing towards you and goes, like, as he's I'm gonna say River is still on the ground, and as he's lifting River onto the sofa, he goes, is my brother in trouble?
Who could tell? Who even knows anymore?
That's...
This is unexplored territory.
I mean, that's...
Oliver, you're talking like a mad scientist.
Oh, does this not fascinate you either?
It doesn't fascinate me.
Oliver, I'm a school teacher, and two of our friends just got injured, and
I'm a university student, and I'm as terrified about their well-being as you are. But don't pretend that this is something that is otherworldly. So much of our day-to-day lives is us experiencing, on the cusp of experiencing something outside of the standard, outside of the norm, outside of the box that we're confined in. And then we are taught to let that go and pretend it's not a thing. That it was weird and we should ignore it. It was weird, I agree, but I refuse to ignore that this happened.
Okay, all right, Oliver, okay.
As this is, I guess, while continuing to soothe with ice pack, but intense eye-locked conversation.
I think Ava, apparently. Ava's gonna check on River, and she's just sort of like gonna like slightly pat her face and see, and I think she's gonna check her arm and just sort of like lift it up to like look at it.
You see like up to the middle of River's forearm is just like all perfectly see-through, like full of glitter and smoke.
Oh, River, I'm so sorry. I think she's just trying to like help her like maybe come back to consciousness.
Derek is like very intensely staring at Oliver. And he says, two of these things don't make sense.
Do tell.
Now he starts pacing and he goes, that song was good. And that does not make sense.
I know, right?
Like he as you say that, like he briefly like turns up and glares at you. And then he returns to pacing and he's like, nobody, like, we live in the clefts and we do whatever we can to make it one day at a time. Yeah, cool. I barely even have a job. I try my best to just afford this apartment, make every day count. And then you hear something that tells you that you have a duty to like be there for each other, and you're like, this sounds really rad and this sounds really important. Why wouldn't this play on the radio? And I know that I know that I'm not supposed to be thinking about this right now, but is this why my brother has this? Am I supposed to, are we supposed, like, he puts his hands through his hair and starts pulling, and then he goes, but why would you arrest somebody for this?
Oliver gets up and puts a hand on his shoulder and says, as I said, your brother discovered something extraordinary. Dangerous, but I don't know. If I was his brother, I'd be proud of him, at least a little bit.
I'm hella proud. I just don't want that to end with his death.
No, well, if this is about making a problem go away, I think you have recently met 4 people within the last 48 hours who would be very interested in taking this contraband off your hands. And, well, when it comes to your roof repairs, and Oliver glances at the ceiling, something tells me you should be able to afford that.
Derek looks
Sorry,
at
I
the
was
ceiling.
all really serious for a second. Gosh, I'm never that intense, I apologize.
Derek looks up at the ceiling, and then like his head just kind of falls dejectedly. What was happening? What are you guys okay? Was that? I don't know how to ask this question. Was it doing something to you all?
Oliver looks at Ava in a, do you want to let him in on this expression, but doesn't say anything.
Derek, have you ever seen anyone use magic when they're not supposed to?
I guess I've seen a couple of folks accidentally open up some musical stuff. Often the police will just let them off with a warning. Sometimes it's bigger than that. Is that what this is? Are you folks in
Derek.
a band or something?
Well, that's kind of different, but we might be soon. But Derek, this song, this music, I think it's connected to the frequency, and I think that's why the police don't want us to have it.
That would be weird. I thought the frequency was this good, powerful, radical thing. I thought it was a sign of how powerful the hexes were and all that crap. And you're not supposed to know more about it? I've never even heard of this. I've never even heard music like this before, let alone this band. He picks up the sleeve and he looks at it. I have no idea who any of these people are.
Derek,
And you were
think
not
about
supposed
it.
to have this?
Think about it. If we had any micro bits of power, do you think we would have let those people walk away with your brother?
No, but are we saying that this... Are we saying that this is power? Are we saying that this...
Wow.
Wait a minute. Like he looks at Ava very briefly and goes, like, I am not a revolutionary or any of that. I'm not out in the streets like I guess some other folks might be, but this sounded pretty hardcore. Um, is that why you're not supposed to have it? Are they afraid people are gonna do something? Like he has this moment where you can visibly see his head is hurting, asking this question. Is like, I'm becoming radicalized, aren't I?
And I think still Ava's trying to like sort of like pat River, and she's reaching out, and she's like sort of like touching Nakhmat's face and seeing if Nakhmat is sort of like starting to come to, while Derek is being radicalized. And then she's just like, well, think about it, darling. If everyone heard this, you said this was good. It talked about fighting the system. It talked about it. It had a beat that I don't think anyone's heard recently. Someone recorded this. This exists. The fact that this exists, the fact that means there's gotta be more. That means that just like history books, something got taken away.
Oh gosh. Ava, your daughter. I should probably you go check that Nakhmat and River are okay. I'll be right back with and looks at their glassy, transparent arms. Some towels? Bed linen? I'll be right back. As Oliver steps out of the room, politely closing the door behind him.
Why are you going? So you're going back upstairs?
Yeah. So for a handful of reasons. One, Andrea has probably spent the last 15 minutes observing a hole in the floor, and then that hole being suddenly filled with gold, and is probably panicking. Also, all our of our equipment is still up there, and we should probably retrieve it. So Oliver's ducking out of the scene real brief to go retrieve those things and check that Ava's kid is okay.
Fair enough. So you get back to Ava's apartment. And the first thing you see as you open the door is Andrea hitting that patch of gold in the floor with the claw peen of a hammer and scraping the gold off into a small plate.
Excellent. That is 110% what I was hoping for. Thank you for this blessing.
Smart kid.
Mm-hmm. I'm happy to have the checking of that be. Oh, I guess I do want to ask briefly, how effed is our equipment?
I mean, there are holes in the bags of folks who had the crystals in their bags, but everything is fine.
Cool. Yeah. Otherwise, I'm happy to, let the scene pass to the actual serious discussion. But as long as Andrea is not having an actual panic attack, then I'm okay.
Like she looks up as you open the door and goes, "Yeah, so what the fuck just happened?"
Cut.
Yeah.
Smash cut.
Just an intake of breath to the start of an explanation, and it cuts away.
This is indeed unless anybody has something very briefly to do, because I know that we do not have a great deal of time this evening. That moment of Andrea looking up to you, mildly dazed, will be the very final moment of this session. So that was also a lot. Thank you very much for multiple straining rolls.
While y'all gagging, we give it to you every ball.
Oh, God. Thank you so very much. I'm definitely very excited to see where the session goes in the future. A reminder to everybody that next fortnight, the 22nd, we will not have another session of Soundclash the Clampdown, but we will be having our Soundclash the Clampdown fundraiser event. You will see a handful of our players tonight pass through and play some very neat, very silly games with us. We will be daring some folks to rap on the spot for no other reason than the entertainment of you all. It will be a lot of fun. So that's the 22nd. We will have more information about that very, very soon, but definitely look out for that when that happens. Until then, uh, I would like everybody to please tell the lovely people in the chat who you are, where folks can find you, and what you are up to. Starting with Valeria.
Good evening, folks, and thank you for tuning in tonight. Again, my name is Valeria. You can find me on Twitter at Willem Vicencio. You can hear my voice if you enjoy me being like kind of stressed out the entire time on Kingdom Hearts: A Forgotten Era, an interstitial astral play podcast. You can see me streaming on Off the Table every other Wednesday. And at the end of this month, kind of coinciding with some Sunday stuff, I'll be, I think, in various positions on Fuck Cancer Roll Dice, which is gonna be pretty great. So we're gonna be raising money for, of course, Fuck Cancer, and this Thursday you'll be able to see me on Utopia, playing Stewpot. Tune in as we have a lot of cute, soft fantasy feelings.
Cute, soft fantasy feelings are good, especially after everything that just happened tonight. Next, Nathan.
Hi, hello. I am tens across the board, Nathan Blades. Once again in the building. Thank you so much, everybody attending. If you want to go and find more of this gay bullshit, you can find it at the Neon Caster on Twitch, where we stream a wide variety of indie RPGs. Our next session of Arcana Core will be on Friday the 20th, continuing with Case 3 of this Persona-inspired adventure. But also, on the last week of November, we are going to be running a session of Iera in Terra, which is a game that I wrote alongside Ruben Ferdinand. It is a gay tabletop RPG that fuses Monster Hunter with Overcooked, which I think is probably one of the best combinations you've ever heard of. We're actually doing open casting for it. So if you are interested in playing an indie RPG written by two fabulous queer people of color, you can go to my Twitter. I've posted the link in the Twitch doobly-doo and read our session pitch for it if you are interested. That's me.
Cool. And definitely please check that out. Please support all of my players' cool work as often as possible. I think sounds really neat. So definitely, if you're interested, I would definitely recommend you sign up to possibly play in that. Next, Katie.
Hello, everyone. I've been Katie Chin. You can find me on Twitter at Katie Peak, Peak spelled like Mountain Peak. And my Twitch link does keep getting put in the chat, but I don't do anything there. So if you for some reason follow, thank you very much. In terms of complete betrayal, I have not been listening to very much music lately. The most I've been listening to lately is like several different animatics of The Ballad of Sarah Berry, which is a very violent senior prom song. And where to listen to me in general, I play Grace Chen on the Valence podcast, an urban fantasy audio drama. Season 1 is fully over and season 2 is fully recorded, and I do not know when it is released, but it will be eventually.
Nice. Thank you. And last but not least, Amber.
Hi, I'm Amaraz. You can find me everywhere on the internet at Amaraz. Currently, the biggest place you can find me is every Thursday over on the Encounter RP channel. I'm playing in an Axon Punk campaign, which is a hip-hop inspired cyberpunk setting. It is fantastic. It's also an all-BIM podcast. It is a blast of a time. That's weekly on Thursdays. every other Friday. We've got 2 sessions left in our Chimera campaign over on Utopia. It will be the Friday before 2 weeks from now, so it's like Friday 2 days ago, again in 2 weeks. And yeah, in 2 weeks, right before on the same weekend as the Soundclash fundraiser, which you should definitely come check out, I will be doing our monthly Al Qadim Critical Read stream on Asians Represent. Those are the biggest things. And you were asking what music we're listening to as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So biggest things right now, actually, I've been listening to pretty much all the songs from Childish, the podcast musical. Just going through all of that. If you haven't heard of it, it's a fantastic podcast written by a bunch of there's a bunch of queer and people of color involved in the podcast creation. It's a musical. It's about a rapper who wants to follow in the path of Childish Gambino and goes to be an RA at a dorm where Childish Gambino RA'd in, and shenanigans ensue. It's got a mix of rap music and traditional like musical fare, and they contrast and mingle in really awesome ways. It explores a lot of cool themes, including like power abuse and RAs basically being cops and what that does to people and stuff like that. So it's really fun.
Okay, that sounds really dope. I'm really into that. So yeah, thank you for that. I don't think if Val or Nathan want to mention any things that they were listening to, because I don't think they mentioned anything.
Oh yeah. Okay, music stuff. I've been listening to the soundtrack of Paradise Killer relatively recently, which is a UK made visual mystery novel inspired by both Danganronpa and the works of Grasshopper Studios. It's a nice infusion of vaporwave and city pop. I've got a vinyl of Jay Dilla's instrumentals in the mail, which I'm very much looking forward to getting soon. When I got my record player, I think last year, a Jay Dilla record was one of the things I really, really wanted, and it was a nightmare to find. So I'm glad I have that now. Turns out you can just order that on Bandcamp. Isn't Bandcamp great? Support Bandcamp Fridays and buy music directly from artists, and they get 100% of the proceedings. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been listening to a lot of mashup stuff, especially Chongo, who does Super Smash Up Ultimate, which is all of the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate themes mashed up with songs. My
Mhm.
favorite is She Thinks My Tractor's Sexy on there. It's the mashup there, as well as his new Sonic mashup album that just dropped. So that just shows my music taste. Though I've also been re-listening through the entire what is it called? Record ship? Discography. That's what it is.
That's the word, yes.
Of the Mountain Goats, because I have fallen in love with them, and if there's a sound that I'm gonna turn towards when I think of a Soundclash, that's really the sound that I go towards.
That I think that's actually very telling, because the Mountain Goats is in a large part a kind of sound that I also want to incorporate into this campaign at some point. So what I've actually been listening to a lot lately is there is a British art rock band called Everything Everything that came out with an album earlier this year called Reanimator, and it's really, really dope. And if you've never heard of it before, I think you should check it out, because this band is really rad.
Oh man, I've not listened to them in ages. I used to bump Photoshop Handsome all the time, like a decade ago. I didn't realize they released an album recently. That's sick. I need to check that out.
Yeah, it's really, really cool. But yes, so that's me. I have been your stage manager this evening, Brandon O'Brien. You can find me almost everywhere on the internet at The Rising Tides. The RPG that we are presently playing, Soundclash, a hack of Blades in the Dark of music, magic, and sticking it to the industry, is a game that I am in the process of designing. You can find a lot of my other design work at therisingtides.itch.io. I have been having a lot of fun with this session and with this campaign. I'm really glad that you all are playing with me. I'm really glad that you all are experiencing this alongside us as this continues being as weird and strange as it is. And I look forward to our next session coming very soon. Until then, keep the frequency in your heart, friends. And I will hand it back on to Greg.
Yeah, well, see, as I was trying to figure out what the hell the command was in chat, but I think I found it to get over to Brandon's store. I'm like, is it BITDQ clue? Anyway, great stuff as always. Brandon didn't ask me, but can I just say that if you have not been checking out the Final Fantasy VII Remake soundtrack, you better go do that, because that may be one of the best soundtracks I've ever heard. Like, it is pretty stunning how good it is. Anyway, this was a lot of fun. I apologize in the middle of it. I think it's possible that my mic was live when I said, yeah, back to, maybe not for the players, but I think on the channel, people might have heard me saying yeah for no reason, because my wife was asking me to go get a towel for my sick child. So it's been one of those, it's been a couple of days, people. It's been a couple of days, but I'm glad that this was, as always, a fun session. Great work from all the players. And I do want to encourage everyone, just before I let the players go, please, 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 if you want to see these folks, want to be able to hear them on a podcast format, and if you'd like to be able to get them their own spiffy video and intro video and cool music that they deserve and all that stuff, then please stop by Brandon's and my fundraiser that we're having for this in 2 weeks on the 22nd, when we will have a lot of amazing stuff. You will see these players in other games and contexts probably, and Brandon and I will be doing a lot of stuff with Brandon's, in quotes, things that he will be bringing to the table so that we can raise some money for this excellent campaign. So please keep that in mind. In the meantime, thank you as always to Nathan, to Katie, to Valeria, to Amr, and of course to Brandon as the GM. Thank you so much, everyone. I'll let you folks go. Chat, can we get some love for the players and GM? Thank you so much. Great session as always. Bye for now, all.
Bye.
Okay. So that is going to do it. I think we'll be able to figure something out, Arudinel. Yeah. I mean, like, you know the drill. Like, I always hate to bring that stuff up because I'm always kind of like, it'd be like, all right, so do this, because I don't ever want anyone to think you've contributed, metric ton to this channel, as you already know. So yeah, I mean, we could certainly work it out. It's just we had to come up with some day, and so that was ultimately the day that we decided. And yeah, so. But anyway, that is going to be it. I am, as you can see, I'm completely ready. This is super professional, right? Like, I'm completely ready for the streaming environment. This is definitely the way that I want to present, myself on a regular basis. It's been a day, but I am thankful to the wonderful players and, of course, to the amazing and awesome Brendan O'Brien for a really cool session again. And we are going to see these things again, and you will see these folks back with more stuff. Pretty much every time this happens, it's just more complication. I just come back and it's like, and then there were bookshelves flying, and then there were the thing with the stuff and the stuff. It was so. This crew gets into trouble in a very entertaining way, and so I love to see that. But if you enjoyed what you saw and heard, please make sure to follow the channel. Please make sure to check out our YouTube channel, including all the previous Soundclash games, which you can find on my YouTube, !ArvTube. Discord is !ArvCord. Twitter is !ArvTweets, where you can follow me as I talk about stuff, perhaps a little bit less on the politics now that we're past the U.S. election. Not that it's going away. It's not just about the election, but, it will probably calm down a little bit in frequency, because much of what I do over there is about writing, gaming, streaming, music, family, obviously, teaching, and then, like a little bit of the political thing here and there. That's !ArvTweets, and my website for this is arvineleron.com. On the financial side, !ArvShop is my merchandise area, where you can get stuff for the Infinity and Beyond crew, playing Curse of Strahd, almost done with that, and for the Adventures in Middle-earth crew, and soon we will have some Esper Genesis stuff there as well. So that's the deal with that. Arv Treon is that Patreon right there. That's the thing that's made it possible for me to commission the overlay for Soundclash, which I think Shadow Mage did a great job on. I just want to be able to, like I said, get the intro videos and other things, which is why we're doing the fundraiser. So anyway, that is that you can find over there. The Patreon will allow us to support the channel and also get cool stuff for you, inspirations to help the players, copies of one of my band's albums, a character background or epic poem written about you, even a professional critique of your writing if you support at a high enough tier. So that's super helpful if you can support there. Plus the channel will move closer to some channel goals, Talisman Tournament, Arvanaut Idol Tournament, another one of my writing tournaments, and so on. That all happens if we can move that number up. So hopefully we can do that. And for all those who have supported me as well over by subscribing, I appreciate that very much. You can get those custom sub badges and emotes and all that kind of good stuff. Last but certainly not least, exclamation point, and inspirations too. Exclamation point Icarus will give you details about my Icarus graphic novel from Athos Arts coming out in retail in 2 days, people, the day after tomorrow, 2 days. So I'm very excited about that. And that is from Athos Arts, as I said. Exclamation point Icarus for details there. Exclamation point Library for details about my Tales and Tomes from the Forbidden Library, 5e. Yay! You got yours. Awesome. Awesome, Arudino. Yeah, I'm very excited about it. And I can't wait to be able to share even more with you. So that again is coming out, exclamation point Icarus for that, exclamation point Library for Tales and Tomes from the Forbidden Library from Alligator Alley Entertainment. That is my 5e adventure and source book. Thank you very much, Trish. That is going to be coming out. It's already out in digital form. You can find it on DriveThruRPG at that link, but it's also going to be available in print. It's actually being printed and being shipped. So we are looking at very near term now, thank God, because I've been waiting a long time for this to come out. But I'm very excited about sharing that all with you in its full printed glory as well. And exclamation point Greyshade KS, and hi Rock God, by the way, Greyshade KS, which is of course my Greyshade Kickstarter series of books, game, RPG, audiobook, and stuff like that, all coming through this as well. And so, yeah, you're not alone. You're not alone. Others have fallen for the same trap, so to speak. So yes, so Greyshade KS for that. And of course, exclamation point BLM, Black Lives Matter. We have talked about this repeatedly, and we will continue to do so, about the importance of asserting and affirming the value of the lives of people of color, but specifically Black lives, because of how important it is within this country and around the world to be able to focus attention on that. And so that is a place where you can check out a resource link, which will give you information, educational resources, places that you can support the cause by donations, and also places that you can educate yourself about various aspects relating to these things. And so all of that is very much appreciated and very helpful if you're able to do it. Last thing I want to mention is just a quick note about the schedule before we do our raid and I'll let you folks go. Tomorrow, we are going to be back here at 7 p.m. Eastern with more of a Grumbler's Guide to the Temple of Elemental Evil, which has become somewhat of a fan favorite, that of course hosted by our own Sod. Then Tuesday at noon Eastern, I will be back with Adventures in Middle-earth as we continue that campaign. And then at 4 p.m. I'll be over at GOG with their Twitch channel doing my Pen and Pixel show and more Vaporum Lockdown. Wednesday is off. Thursday is off. Friday we will be back, I believe, with Final Fantasy VII Remake. I believe we've got Final Fantasy VII Remake, I think, Friday and Saturday again, if I'm not mistaken, because I think Curse of Strahd has been rescheduled to the 21st. So I think that's what we're looking at here. So we're going to get a lot more FF7 Remake as we go along, which is good because I've been having a lot of fun with that game. So that's what we've got queued up. I hope everyone is looking forward to it as much as I am. And don't forget, next Sunday, right back here, Brandon will be here again, but he will be here with the Blades in the Dark crew as part of our joint Speculate Twitch venture with the Blades in the Dark campaign. So that'll be happening next Sunday. And then in 2 Sundays, that Soundclash Clampdown fundraiser, which I talked about before. Last thing that I want to mention very quickly is just about the raid business. The raid business. Let me just quickly check and see what we've got in the way of... yes, as I thought, I know who we are going to raid. Indeed I do. I know exactly who it's going to be. Okay, let's do that, and let's do that. Cool. So when we do a raid, it's real simple. If you are not a sub, you can do this. The Arvanauts have landed, followed by Twitch raid, lowercase Twitch, uppercase R, lowercase AID. If you are not a sub. If you are a sub, then please, when you are brought over there automagically, do this. The Arvanauts have landed, and then you can throw in Arvany Hype, Arvany Roar, Twitch raid, and you can throw in a bunch of the other Arvanese if you want as well. Just lots of Arvany emotes kind of coming down the line to all of you is the thing that we're thinking about. So, but that is going to do it for me. I'm going to get on out of here and get back to grading, because that's my life these days, and trying to take care of the family. So I'm going to go do that. And thank you all so much, as always, to the wonderful players and to Brandon O'Brien, the players and GM, respectively, of Soundclash the Clampdown. Thank you all for being here. Thank you to my wonderful mods, Rudinell and Rock God. Thank you to my wonderful subscribers, Rudinell, Rock God, Critch Twitch, Mrs. Dunsel, of course, the Rising Tides. Thank you again, Brandon, and Trishy Metz. Thank you to my wonderful viewers. Thank you to Aiton, Black Fury, Commander Root, Gorgar, Idliara, Jagtris. Thank you to Let's Do This Music, totally not a bot. Thank you to Lurks, also totally not a bot. Thank you to Macaroni KTX. Thank you to Nonstop. Thank you to REM Speedwagon, which I love. Thank you to the Neon Caster, REM Speedwagon. I just love the name. Thank you to the Neon Caster, and thank you to you, Christensen, as always. Otherwise, folks, please stick around for the raid. Much love. I will see you folks Monday evening. Thanks to the Sound crew, Clash crew, and I will see all of you lovely folks Monday for Grumbler's Guide to the Temple of Elemental Evil. Until then, as always, be good to each other.